Hello and welcome to the Savvy Corner. If you are new here, my name is Alisa and I make videos about personal and business finances, financial well-being and money mindset. If you're not new, thanks for stopping by again. In my previous video, we talked about managing negative feelings about money, and at the end of that video, I mentioned that as a result of going through the process of dealing with your feelings, you will discover that you have the power to rewrite your financial story. And that in order to do that, you need to take full responsibility for your financial situation. I also promised that I will make a separate video on this topic, and here we are. In today's video, I want us to have a conversation about responsibility and perhaps increase awareness of what responsibility is and what it is not. At the end of the video, I also want to give you some pointers and practical tips that you can implement to help you own that position of responsibility. But first, let's look at the definition of the concept. The Oxford Dictionary offers us two definitions. The first one is having a duty to deal with something or having control over someone. The second definition is the state of being accountable or to blame for something. I can tolerate the first definition, although I don't agree that having control over someone necessarily means responsibility. But I can see how that can apply to parents or legal guardians who are responsible for their children. However, it's the second definition that I really have a problem with, specifically the blame part. The moment we associate responsibility with blame, we've shot ourselves in the foot, because blame comes from a place of guilt. And the last thing I want you to do is to start feeling guilty about money or about your current situation. If you are in a position where you do have negative emotions about money, please go and watch my previous video, which I will link for you on the screen and in the description box. But coming back to responsibility, the definition I much prefer to the ones I mentioned is the ability to respond. Response, ability. Looking at it in this way comes from a place of empowerment, from a place of positive expectations and confidence in the fact that you get to choose how you react to your circumstances rather than from a place of blame and guilt. One other thing to mention about responsibility, and you might have heard this in a business or work context, is the fact that you can't delegate it. You can delegate some tasks that fall under your realm, but the overall responsibility stays with you. To give you an example, setting up direct debits or automated payments within your account is a form of delegation. You don't have to manually transfer the money every month. However, if something goes wrong and the money doesn't reach the account of the person or company that you need to pay, the responsibility stays with you. Your payee won't accept an excuse such as, oh, my bank had some glitches in the system, as a valid reason for you not making payment. Yes, they might be understanding about the situation because these things happen, but eventually you still need to pay them. It doesn't mean that that responsibility has gone away. This is where I think it makes sense to introduce the concept of accountability. Responsibility and accountability are sometimes used interchangeably, but there is a subtle difference between the two. Accountability goes beyond just being responsible for something, and it includes taking ownership for your actions and therefore for your results. This is what we're aiming for eventually. To look at your financial situation from a place of empowerment, with the confidence that we have the ability to respond to whatever situation we're currently in, and from a place of accountability, taking ownership of our current results as a consequence of the actions we took in the past. So if you think about this as a timeline, we have some actions that we've taken in the past, which have generated the results that we see in our current financial situation. We take full ownership, full accountability of these results as a consequence of past actions. And we come from a place of responsibility, of being able to respond to our current circumstances in a way that will produce different results in the future. That's what true responsibility is. It's definitely not blame. Okay, so now that we have a better understanding of what it means to take full responsibility for our financial situation, let's look at some practical things you could implement to own that position of empowerment. The first one is to get comfortable making decisions and accepting the consequences of those decisions. Sometimes we tend to prolong making what might be a scary financial decision because we are afraid we'll get it wrong. Secretly, we perhaps hope that if we ignore it for long enough, it will go away. Well, it won't. And it's likely that the more you postpone it, the worse it will get, and you might face fines, penalties, or just general inconvenience. Not to mention how heavy it feels to continuously carry that burden with you. You know you need to do it, it's constantly on your mind, and every day you have to deal with the fact that you still haven't done it yet. And the pressure keeps increasing day after day after day. Taking responsibility for your financial situation means that you acknowledge the fact that this is an important decision, and therefore you treat it as such. If you need to do so, you do some research on the topic, you read about it online, you ask a professional or a colleague or perhaps a friend who has experience in this. Whatever your research results and whatever your friends tell you, this is still your decision. You are not asking them to make that decision for you. You're only trying to gather knowledge and evidence so that you can make a more informed decision. Be prepared to take full ownership of the results it will generate and just make a decision. If it helps with peace of mind, assess what are the likely outcomes and create a plan for how to deal with worst-case scenarios. But it will feel better, you will gain more confidence from making other financial decisions, or you will learn from your mistakes and avoid them in the future. Either way, you'd be better off than hiding your head in the sand. The second thing you can do is to get out of victim mode. What I mean by that is feeling sorry for yourself, for the things that happened in the past, or for the current financial situation that you're experiencing. Taking full responsibility means that you have the ability to respond to your circumstances. You can choose to respond as a victim and feel sorry for yourself, or you can choose to respond proactively and start changing your attitude and behavior so that you can shift those results. Closely related to victim mode is the sense of entitlement, feeling that you are owed something. For example, that you are owed a salary or respect, sympathy, explanations, and so on. Nobody owes us anything. And the sooner we make peace with that, the sooner we'll be able to focus on things that really matter and that will truly make a difference. And finally, another thing you can do to own this position of responsibility is to identify and change bad financial habits. This is a complex subject that would make this video extremely long, and therefore I will talk about it in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. For more money and finance related content, feel free to check out my other videos. Why not start with the ones that are suggested on the screen? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.